Good morning, everyone. It is March 14th, 2018. I'm Eric. I'm here at the Free Thought Project, media silent as Trump administration gives power over gun control to federal agencies. The Trump administration has announced its support for a number of measures involving gun control. And, not surprisingly, the mainstream media has chosen to highlight the measures that would have little effect while ignoring the administration's support for a bill that would have a devastating impact on the Second Amendment. CNBC's headline says, Trump gun proposal skips age limits, focuses on teaching educators how to use guns instead, and BBC News went with Trump drops calls to raise guns age limit. The media's coverage has relied heavily on the idea that if the legal minimum age requirement for gun purchases was raised from 18 to 21, then it may have an effect on stopping mass shootings without taking any other legitimate factors into consideration. Quote, on 18 to 21 age limits, watching court cases, the rulings before acting states are making this decision, Trump wrote on Twitter, things are moving rapidly on this, but not much political support, to put it mildly. However, while the media focused on Trump's response to age requirements, they ignored the support he pledged for one of the most egregious bills being considered by Congress, H.R. 4477. The Fix-Nix Act states that it would amend the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act to require each federal agency and department, including a federal court, to certify whether it has provided to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, disqualifying records of persons prohibited from receiving or possessing a firearm. As the Free Thought Project reported in December, the Fix-Nix Act will pressure federal agencies and states to report as many names as possible to the National Instant Background Check System, making it only a matter of time before this list becomes so large that nearly any activity could serve to remove your Second Amendment rights. Although versions of the bill have been proposed in both the Senate and the House and have received support from Republicans, Democrats, and even the National Rifle Association, Representative Thomas Massie warned that Congress will try to pass the Fix-Nix Act by rolling it into another bill that looks harmless. And of course, that is the tactic that they love to use. Congress first tried to accomplish this in late 2007 by including the Fix-Nix Act in H.R. 38, the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, which states that its purpose is to amend the federal criminal code to allow a qualified individual to carry concealed handgun into or possess a concealed handgun in another state that allows individuals to carry concealed firearms. When the bill was stalled, they shifted their attention to H.R. 4909, the Stop School Violence Act, which is supposed to be voted on this week. Massie warned that the supporters of the Fix-Nix Act will use the Stop School Violence Act to sugarcoat it in order to attain their original objective. Representative Massie summed up, Representative Massie summed up the Fix-Nix Act by noting that it encourages administrative agencies, not the courts, to submit more names to a national database that will determine whether you can or can't obtain a firearm. Of course, you'll always be able to obtain a firearm. It's called the black market. And I highly recommend the black market. When President Obama couldn't get Congress to pass gun control, he implemented a strategy of compelling through administrative rules the Veterans Administration and the Social Security Administration to submit lists of veterans and seniors, many of whom never had a day in court, to be included in the NICS database of people prohibited from owning a firearm. Massey said only a state court, a federal court, or a military court should have ever been able to suspend your rights for any significant period of time. And I disagree with that. Our rights are not to be suspended for any reason. That's why they said shall not be infringed. While Trump took to Twitter to claim that a very strong improvement and strengthening of background checks will be fully backed by the White House, he failed to mention that the legislation to implement background checks has serious flaws, and its consequences go far beyond his time in office. Now that the Trump administration has officially pledged its support for the Fix NICS Act, and the mainstream media has done the same by refusing to report on the blatant problems that exist within the legislation, it serves as a reminder that the real divide exists not between Democrat and Republican, but between the establishment and the people. Now, I warned you during the campaign about Donald Trump. And it turns out, it seems, that I was correct about Donald Trump. And let me point out that not many people out there, not many at all, have pointed out that Donald Trump was and is probably a Trojan horse. That's why I call him Trojan Horse Trump, because he is a Trojan horse there to, number one, to support some of these establishment goals, but number two, to take the fall for the economy collapsing. So, I was right about Trump, so I wonder if I'm right about the fact, or the idea rather, he may be there to take the fall, and indeed the conservative branch of our so-called government take the fall for the economic collapse, even though it's been the liberal policies across America that has actually ended up destroying many of our nation's cities. Well, tell me what you think in the comment section below. As Beta Talk 357 said in a comment, the NRA is a fucking joke. I didn't quote him word for word, paraphrasing. They're not doing shit to fight this, and I think they are complicit in these actions. Anywho, have a great day. Remember, kill the state and live free.